वेलकम टू स्टार स्टॉप। इन जनाब ने गलत पिक्चर साइन कर ली। बत्ती कभी गुल नहीं होती है इनकी, मीटर ऑलवेज चालू रहता है इनका। शाहिद कपूर, थैंक यू सो मच जॉइनिंग अस।
Thanks, buddy.
And I always say this, you've picked up such an interesting array of films. लेकिन after Padmavat we're meeting now.
Yeah, bro. Because that's the time I've got another release.
Yeah, and
It's been a few months, yeah.
It's been quite a few months.
Yeah,
man.
it has. Yeah.
But so I have to go back on this. That was beautiful. It came out beautifully. It's one of those films that now that you're an extended family man or extension chalte ja raha tumhara, it's one of those films that you'd want to show your. If you had to pick like 2 or 3 films to show your kids,
Yeah.
to say you want to see your pop acting, this is what I was.
Yeah.
Would Haider and Padmavat be in that list?
Haider for sure.
Yeah.
Urta Punjab, once they are at an age where they can possibly watch it. Kamine for sure.
Yeah.
Padmavat was, as a film, I would definitely say they should watch it because it's an experience.
Yeah.
But I'm sure by the time they're older, they'll be looking at it and saying, really, like that's all you could do at that time?
Listen, by the time they're older, you will have another 20 like this more that you would have done.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully. I think it comes rarely. Films like that come rarely. Yeah.
And they take a lot to actually make. The list that you've taken right now, of course we're going to talk about the film that he's coming for. Very interesting director also involved in that. That's what I really like. And if you've seen the promo, Batti Gul Meter Chalu, you'll understand it's a very realistic film in India. But your career's also had a lovely, the utar chadav. Last 5 years, it seems almost like you've got on top of your game, man. You've been figuring out what films you want to do, only that kind of film that you're doing, and then your plate's full in the right way.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of thinking that's gone into it?
I think I'm just honestly sticking to my instinct and I'm being true to how I feel. And I'm choosing content that genuinely excites me and it doesn't have other parameters which are, getting involved in my decision-making process. And I am very keen to rediscover and to do different types of roles. And I think that kind of that vibe and that energy has reached out to the fraternity, and so people come to me with different types of films and different types of roles. They don't tend to come and say ये आपने किया था, ये आप अच्छा करते हो तो ये कर लो. That has stopped happening. ये तो हमने आपको सोच के लिखा है.
When was that stopped happening? Which film was that?
I would say it stopped. I don't think there was a specific film which made it happen. There was a specific attitude which I carried with me as an actor after a certain time where people kind of understood कि यार इसके पास वैसा ही वैसा लेके रह जाओगे तो ये नहीं करेगा. That kind of it started permeating into people, and I was very on with the fact that I want to do something that's different, and I think that kind of just started happening.
Yeah, and it did. And like I said, he's had a whirlwind like last 3 or 4 years. Do you look back and cringe sometimes at some films that you've done?
Yeah, many. I think the first 10 years of my career, I was in a video game. It was like, I had a few lives. Yeah, I had a few lives and I survived and I was very fortunate. I think whatever I got right, people really liked it and they kind of felt like, नहीं ये बंदा talented है थोड़ा, पता नहीं क्या picture, what is he thinking? But acting ठीक कर लेता है. So I had quite a few of those, yeah, definitely.
That is, that is a zone which your children will first see. Oh, you were doing this and all also.
No, the children will not see those films. By then, nobody will remember them.
It'll come on TV, bro. You forget that television stays and the online OTT platforms will remain.
नहीं.
Shahid Kapoor का एक separate channel होगा. Biggest change, do you think that apart from, just the attitude,
Yeah.
that you bought into on set? I want to know the when you do a decade in, you look back,
Yeah.
you're just like a sportsman.
Yeah.
You change a few things in your career.
Yeah, sure.
You change some things about
Sure.
your game. On set, what's the biggest change in you?
Being aware, not being over-prepared, being...
I like that line, not being over-prepared.
Yeah, it's very important because I think some of the biggest issues that happen between actors and filmmakers is because an actor comes with a preconceived mindset of how a scene would be, and even though it might be amazing, but if it doesn't fit into the larger scheme of things or for the filmmaker, then it becomes a massive issue. And you need to drop that, I think sincerity is great, but when you get so stuck within your own thoughts, that sincerity becomes the biggest burden. So I personally like to organically discover the filmmaker's mind first, and I think of course, there are certain parameters that are set in my mind about what I feel should come through eventually in the character, but how it needs to come through is not defined. It needs to be discovered, and it needs to be discovered within the universe of the filmmaker's
So is there a lot
sense of things.
meetings and a lot of coffee sessions that you'll have with the filmmaker and pick
I
his
think
brain?
meetings and coffee sessions are good, but after a while, they just get you stuck in a space which is essentially words and thoughts. And you eventually need to organically discover it truthfully. And everything you say will not always happen. And sometimes things will happen which you never thought of.
Yeah.
So you need to kind of, you need to have an improvisational side to you. You need to have the ability to get into a shot without being planned about how it's going to come through. And to me, my best work has always happened when roll sound is happening. I have no friggin' idea what I'm going to do in the shot. And sometimes
So you have that blank space sometimes that happens?
it's just, you're in a world that's honest. You're surrounded by people who are really talented, and you're being directed by a filmmaker who wants to discover something truthful and honest. And if those parameters are right, then you should just allow yourself to flow. That's how I feel.
Is there like that sense of nervous energy, those nerves happen on the first day of shoot?
Yeah, on certain days, I think nervous energy is good for certain types of scenes, and I think it's really bad for certain types of scenes. So you need to understand what kind of content you're doing, and you should come in the right headspace for that. I feel it's like, depend कौन सा pitch पे batting कर रहे हो उस हिसाब से आने का. So it's very important to understand that, and that of course comes with a lot of time.
This film has a lot of facets to you, man. Just in the trailer that I've seen, there's a lot of fun that you're having. It's almost like, there's a revenge mode, there's an India mode, there's a realistic mode with Narayan Singh also. I think he's a very earthy director.
He is very earthy. That's a good word for him.
I would not have pictured him with you. That's an interesting casting with him,
So now you've basically answered my reason for why I did this film. Because अगर नहीं दिखता है तो अभी करना चाहिए.
Correct.
Yeah, that's my thing.
But did you take a lot of convincing, or did...
No, actually, the idea of this film had come to me as a storyline from the producer. And at that time, it was based in Mumbai, and the title was different, and the story was very different. So I kind of liked the idea, and my wife was, a big part of that. She kind of told me that, this problem is a massive problem, and you don't understand. तू रहता है मुंबई में जहाँ पे होते नहीं है power.
तुम मुंबई में नहीं, तुम मुंबई के red atmosphere में रहते हो.
जुहू में रहते हो, जहाँ पे तुमको इसका कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. ये बहुत real problem है.
I come from DLF, Gurgaon, Haryana.
सही है तो.
We have lived on an inverter and generator all our life.
Yes. So exactly, my wife is from Chhatarpur. So that connect is there of generators and inverters. My wife keeps telling me, ये तो मुंबई में इन्वर्टर क्यों नहीं लगाते? बट क्यों लगाया इन्वर्टर? नहीं लगाना चाहिए. And in the last 1 year 2 बार लाइट गई है.
और जब जाती है लाइट चली गई यहाँ पे.
चली गई and then इन्वर्टर नहीं है. देखा मैंने तो कहा था अरे but once in 2 years. Anyways, that's a separate conversation. So she was like, this is a problem which is a pan-India Janta problem, boss. And so she really connected with that. She really connected with the issue that, when bills are phenomenally high and when they are not justified, so to say, you can't fight the system. The common man's voice is not heard. And that was the fundamental which kind of stuck. And then me and Shri sir met before Toilet released. And he said that he's very keen to do the film. And I kind of realized that he understands it really well because he seemed to have that sense. He's from a small town. He understands what these issues which might seem to us city people, Mumbai people, so to say. I think Delhi में जैसे बहुत बड़े शहरों में भी है, but definitely Mumbai. कि ये क्या है? क्या ये sanitation का कुछ problem है क्या? क्या problem है sanitation का? है तो यार इधर सुलभ शौचालय. That's the way we tend to think. But for a huge segment of people, it's a everyday problem which is massive. Right? And this falls, I feel, in a broader category because I think the problem of electricity is a wider problem. And it's not just rural. It's also in certain decently big cities. And definitely in 2-tier and 3-tier towns. And rural to hai hi nahi. तो अलग issue है. So I felt like he had this really good kind of understanding of ये picture में उनको क्या कहना है. Then Toilet happened and I realized that he tells very personal stories, so the relationships.
So did you also go to see Toilet at that point in time because you said...
I saw it much, I was traveling and so I saw it almost, I would say 2 months after it released because I was not here, but I was hearing when the Toilet's trailer was out, one section of people were saying, ये क्या है Toilet, क्या है प्रेम कथा, क्या है कैसे गाँव है, and then there's another set of people saying, boss ये connect करेगी. So there was this, 2 types of energy, and then I saw that energy of people who were sensing it and recognizing it was somewhere connected to the kind of audience that appreciates a film like this, And so it was great to see that, because we live in a bubble, and the amount of information that permeates through is sometimes misplaced and sometimes not necessarily the voice of the majority.
Yeah, I completely agree with that because you know what he's saying is the awareness of the Indian consumer has increased so much. Now, for someone like him, and I'll be honest with you, and correct me if I'm wrong, social media isn't such an easy tool for you anymore because the moment you put it on, you're flooded with 1 million people saying hi, hello, so you can't really be scrolling that easily as a normal public would.
It's also a very
Or
small
more.
representation of the film-going audience of this
so
country.
sometimes I want to ask you that. Do you really feel upset with that? You have one of the largest followings.
No, I realized through a few
Films.
flops कि माँ किया ट्विटर पे तो आग लग गई थी भाई और इंस्टा पे तो इतने लाइक आए थे ये वाले पोस्टर पे और थिएटर में मक्खी भी नहीं बना रही है तो ये क्या हो रहा है
ब्रो इसके लिए पैसा देना पड़ता है
और तो मेरे को रियलाइज हुआ ये अलग है वो अलग है
ये शायद के हुस्न के ऊपर भी चले जाते हैं dude you know you're like India's Tom Cruise do you know this बहुत सारे लोगों ने बोला बचपन वाली फोटोग्राफ में ना बस शाहिद की जो धीरे धीरे ना तेरा जॉलाइन चिजल होते चलेगा
दाढ़ी वाला टॉम क्रूज आ गया
नहीं
अभी क्या अभी 5-6 साल से निकाली नहीं है मैंने
नहीं बट इट्स ट्रू यू हैव बिकम इंडियाज टॉम क्रूज हाउ यू एज्ड सो वेल यार ये बताओ मुझे
हाउ डिड आई व्हाट
हाउ यू एज्ड सो वेल
आई थिंक
you become more good looking with age you know that and I hate that
no, I'm very thankful for that because the first 10 years of my career I was making so many faux pas that I needed those 10 years to come back to me towards some point. So I think God was kind enough to think कि इतनी गलतियां करने वाला है कि actually स्टार बुढ़ापे में बनने वाला है तो इसको थोड़ा good looks दे दो.
बुढ़ापा ये से बुढ़ापा but it's true यार आज लड़के होते शाहिद सोनाक्षी ने एक बारी बहुत अच्छी तरह यहाँ से बोला था you know how they when they see Shahid they go Shahid Shahid
there is no I in my name it's many E's
double E's
well
now he's become everything magnet Shahid Kapoor the box office magnet the big filmmakers magnet public magnet always was there and I think with the interesting list of films that he's chosen last 3 or 4 years the most important part in a senior actor's life and he has become a senior actor is the box office appreciation magnet which has happened with you you now watch the collections with a keen eye.
I've always watched the collections of not just my film, but most films, because it's a reflection of the mood of the audience. It gives you a realization of things that you might not yourself realize, and it also I think helps you understand the different types of people who watch different types of movies. And so it educates you. Of course, you cannot get literal with it because the box office cannot be an exact representation of the love that a film might have gotten. Because that happens on various platforms. Sometimes films make big numbers but might not have been appreciated so much. Sometimes films, by the time they get truly appreciated, they're off the theatre and then you're watching them on a digital platform or on cable or something like that.
Or sometimes you have holiday weekends that carry on and on and on, which can actually show inflated figures.
But that definitely happens. I think if you're releasing on a holiday, then you must know that your collections have got a boost by 20 to 25%, sometimes as much as 30-40%, depending on what kind of holiday and what kind of weekend you have. And that's the power side of the equation. This is a creative job, but there's a huge power equation attached to this job as well.
Is there still a lot of creativity left in filmmaking? Do you feel? I believe it's become a business only.
No, I mean, honestly, bro, I feel like the fact that it's a business that's like ground rule, right? That doesn't change. But there is a lot of freedom to express yourself. You cannot express yourself for yourself. वो वाला थोड़ा सा wrong होता है. But if you're expressing yourself with respect for the fact that there are going to be people sitting in that theatre and they've paid money for it, then I think there is a lot of room to play.
You've never thought of doing the production and the direction, but you...
Direction, no. I haven't honestly thought about it. I haven't. Production is something that's on my mind. I might, in fact, do something about that soon. That's something that's been playing on my mind because I want to participate and be able to back a film. I think to have true ownership of a film, your participation in the film should start much earlier than how an actor's participation starts. Otherwise, you're kind of owning it, but you're not really owning it.
Okay, do you think you'll be a good producer because of your nitty-gritties that you keep looking at and you're very
for people who are into nitty-gritties, I'll be the best, and for people who are not, I'll be a pain. So be it. So the right people should come, the wrong ones shouldn't.
The numbers game, he knows how to play well. And speaking about numbers, before I come back to Batti Gul, you must be really happy with how Ishan's been accepted by the audience.
Yeah, I'm relieved.
Yeah.
Me and mom are relieved because we were like,
use his name.
अरे यार इसको तो ऑफर आ रहे हैं यार इतना जल्दी आ रहे हैं यार but इसने कहीं गया नहीं है कुछ किया नहीं है But so yeah.
It is similar to Ishq Vishk also. The way, kind of fandom that was there when you had come out.
Because he's done a love story, you know, and I mean not too many people saw Beyond the Clouds. I'm sorry, I don't want to be. That was almost galti ho gaya tha. But you know, not enough people saw Beyond the Clouds, and he was exceptionally good in that film. And he was very good in Dhadak as well. And Dhadak was a film that did commercially really well. He's very fortunate to be launched by the people that have launched him. You know, Dharma as a production house is very strong, especially when it comes to marketing new faces, because they're very good with marketing for sure. And you know, him and Janvi are a really good pair. And Shashank is somebody who's done films in a certain zone and he knows that space well. So all that went really well.
Were you hooting in the theatres? Did you watch it in a theatre at all?
No, I watched it at a preview.
And then I know
You think he let me wait till reaching the theatre to watch it?
But dobara, at the gloating din bhi hota hai. Did you tell him that he must go and gloat in the theatres on a Monday?
No, are you mad? I'm his elder brother. I'm supposed to tell him, shut up. You got it right one time, doesn't mean you get it right again. Not at all.
Ishan, please go and gloat, buddy, if it's still on in theatres. Because, you know...
यार उसको उल्टा बोल.
नहीं. क्यों? उसको enjoy करने दो. तुमने इतने सालों तक enjoy किया है? इस विश को तुमने gloat नहीं किया था मंडे को जाके?
मेरी तो यार मैं तो शॉक में था. I swear.
अच्छा.
शॉक में to another level था कि ये तो बॉस लग गई पिक्चर और ये तो अच्छी लग रही है और ये चल भी गई है. See, today is a very different time. Also, that was not, I wouldn't say it was such a big film. It was a small film. It was also, when the film started getting made, it was about 4 people. And then by the time we finished, the director and the producer decided to make it about me. तो पहले तो I was like, तो मैं तो हीरो हूँ. तो मुझे लग रहा था 3-4 लोग हैं फिल्म के अंदर. And secondly, उस टाइम पे कहाँ न्यूकमर्स की फिल्में आती ही नहीं थी यार.
Batti Gul Meter Chalu is going to be hitting theatres very soon. I like this chemistry between you and Devendu. That's also looking very good. He's fun.
I hope Shraddha doesn't see this.
श्रद्धा के साथ भी बहुत अच्छी है, बाद में आएंगे, यामी भी है, लेकिन देवेंदु के साथ ज़्यादा है, start.
Yeah, he's a very good actor.
Yeah.
You know, I had a really good time working with Devendu. He's very sincere. He has these, you know, things about acting to Naseer साहब और पंकज जी करते हैं. You know, उसका वो mode है वो, which is great, you know, because he has a certain, you know, honesty towards what he does, and he's very integral to the film. He's a very good actor, and it was a lot of fun working with him.
Both the girls have their own, you know, so like I say, like Yami's time is still to come, I feel.
Yeah.
It will come eventually.
You know, I feel that so strongly. I feel that very strongly that Yami is such a good actor, and she's so talented. She's very pretty.
Yeah.
She's easy to work with and good energy. So I really feel like I'm sure there are bigger, better things to come for her because she's very deserving of it. You know, there are certain actors you work with and feel, अच्छा star है, थोड़ा luck चल रहा है भाई. And sometimes you work with somebody and say, man, this person deserves to do really well.
But patience is the key.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just that. It's many things.
Yeah.
Patience being one of them.
Yeah.
But there are many things. I mean,
he's going to his vault of हाँ पेशेंस एक था बचपन में किसी ने मेरे बोला था लेकिन मेरे एक्सपीरियंस और तजुर्बे का
तजुर्बे के हिसाब से हाँ अब तो अपनी दाढ़ी को तो खुजा भी सकता हूँ मेरे तजुर्बे के हिसाब से दाढ़ी
लेकिन इस पिक्चर में नहीं है और तुम्हारा एक्सेंट भी बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है तो यहाँ पे श्री नारायण सिंह ने कहीं टोका था अगर तुम्हारा एक्सेंट थोड़ा ऑफ जाता था
एक्चुअली मज़ा उसी में आया था जब स्क्रिप्ट सुनी थी तो आई वॉज लविंग दिस एक्सेंट इन दिस फिल्म एंड दिस द स्लाइट सिंग सॉन्गनेस ऑफ द वे दैट यू नो द लैंग्वेजेस एंड दैट इट्स अ कुमाऊनी एक्सेंट and just I was just enjoying the flavor of it, you know. It was like अच्छा लग रहा था कानों में सुन के. So and we had a narration, right? I didn't read it, and there's good reason because I would be like, wait, ठहरा what क्या है भाई ये? So you know, so when you hear it, you know, you get it. The first time I heard it, the first one and a half pages, I was like, क्या बोला? कैसा था? And by the third page, I was like reacting to the jokes. I was getting the punchlines. I was feeling the, you know, the world. And so that was a big part of this film, and I really had fun with the accent because once you get it, then you can like play with it. You know, like in Udta Punjab, मेरे को पंजाबी आती नहीं है. Okay, नहीं आती मेरे को पंजाबी.
Are you serious?
बिल्कुल नहीं आती. And my dad hates me about
I know,
this.
bro.
But I'm like, but you were born and brought up in Ludhiana. I was born and brought up in Delhi and then Mumbai.
Correct.
And so there was no.
हल्की सी तो आनी चाहिए. Actually, what am I saying?
Delhi.
I don't know Marathi and I don't know.
नहीं यार दिल्ली में दिल्ली का दिल्ली accent.
Correct.
The dally is the dally.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
That's a different accent. You know, so वो अलग है. वो था मेरे अंदर, because of which I suffered in school a lot, because I was treated very badly because of the way I used to talk. ए बोल दे मेरे को दे, you know that, ओ भैया बोल रहा हूँ ना, बोल दे मेरे को, आनू ना तेरे को, you know, whatever the hell. I'm doing a bad version right now, but something like that. And so I really got tripped out in school for that. And
Udta Punjab.
Udta Punjab. So my character was all about improvisation. And honestly, I also didn't know कि अभी short में मैं क्या करने वाला हूँ. तो eventually वो मैं माँ बहन की गाली पे चले जाता था.
अच्छा.
तो मेरे को you know short cut होता था और वैसे वो अभिषेक ऐसे बैठा होता था. कोई बात नहीं, हम वैसे adult film है. It's okay.
Acha, so there was a lot of extra that you
there was
that you
had to be na. He's not a character who's going to follow the lines to the T. There's got to be some random stuff that he's going to do, right?
Because of all the stuff that he was doing in the film.
So the good thing about this film was that I got because it was not that thate. The language is not so thate. It's accessible.
Yeah.
So once you get a sense of the sentence construction, which is ulta.
Wow.
आज हम दोनों बैठ के बात कर रहे हैं. हम दोनों बैठ के बात कर रहे हैं आज. थोड़ा वो change है. उसका structure थोड़ा अलग है. तो वो जब समझ में आ जाता है और थोड़ी सी वो टोनैलिटी समझ में आ जाती है और फैक्ट्स एंड फिगर्स उस तरह की चीज़ें समझ में आ जाती है, देन यू कैन लाइक हैव फन विद इट. सो आई हैड फन विद इट.
बट ही इज एन एक्सेंट किंग. तो भी याद है ना, कभी नहीं याद है. So that was actually the fuzz and the fuzz and the fuzz and the whiz has always worked with him. This boy is on the right track, and I'll say boy right now again because like I said, he's growing younger with age. बेंजामिन बटन का अगर इंडियन वर्जन बनेगा तो यही आदमी बनेंगे और उसमें कोई प्रोस्थेटिक्स की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी यार. Brother, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you.
And like I said, he's I think in the best phase of his life. Congratulations to the extended family. By the time I meet you again, तुम्हारी extended family और बड़ी हो चुकी होगी. Stop it at that. हम दो हमारे दो. We will see you all soon. Batti Gul Meter Chalu. It is. Can't wait for that.